are there.
We're
I
there.
got nothing written down. I don't know what we're talking about. We're chilling.
How to make a savvy purchase.
The new
Hot-
filter, the new oil filter.
I got them right here, bruh.
I
Got 'em
just
right
Oh,
here.
that's
ordered
right.
one. I sent Cody my order receipt, and then they emailed me today saying, "We're sorry that you purchased the oil filter, and it said we had it in stock. We don't have it in stock, so you're going to have to wait for it to come off back order through our company."
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I think Aaron probably grabbed the last one.
Yeah.
Our parts manager, I told him as soon as Cody told me, and he ordered a shipment of them right away, so we had them at the dealership.
Nice.
Yeah, no BS. What up, fellas? Welcome back. We got a full house today. Full house. I think my sound. There we go. I turned my sound
Your sound sounds like what you sound like.
on my the window.
Oh.
It's the soundy sound. The sound of
The
sound.
soundy sound. Brizzy, I just made something for you, broski. No name Ray. No name.
That's my name.
Chris, what up? Welcome. We're gonna talk. I don't have nothing written down. We're just gonna talk about whatever comes to mind. Pink Taco Tuesday.
You're officially on the non-planned plan.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
I do have something though we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the difference between the two. So far visually, I don't have specs on stuff yet, but what up, Vince BP? What up? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Wednesday, the 23rd. Krautster, Ford Boss. We got newcomer to the crew, Diesel Tech Chris. If you guys follow him on TikTok, I get tagged in some of his stuff with calling me out on my Friday fades. Not Friday,
Right.
so
You started it.
I can't rep it yet. If DS wasn't glitching right now, it almost looked like he's sitting in front of that brand new truck. Look at that front end. Why don't you move your little noodle to the side so we can see the front end of that thing? Oh,
You spoiled it, man. We could have ran with that one.
Oh, busted.
It's a nice looking truck.
I had everybody keep commenting. I have they wish the 23s, they got to keep the 17 through 19. If anything, I wish they'd have the 20. I think the 20 looks better than the 17 to 19. I like the split in the C ring. But some
When
guys
you posted
like
that video, Aaron, of you passing by that truck, and then you had the shot from like the grill when you were I was like, man, I like the truck, but I can't get. At first, I thought it would grow on me, but the more I see that grill, I don't really care for it.
The grill's growing on me. Like,
I don't
it's
like
different.
I don't like it.
You can't really see in that picture, but if you see the video that I had took, the front park gate sensors were like really, really close to all the trim. And I'm gonna just imagine being able to get even the block heater ran through there, even to get those connectors, like you're gonna be forced to take the bumper off is what they're gonna make it. Because none of that stuff's gonna be accessible. So
That truck was pretty banged up. The one that you passed.
oh yeah. I'm
That's-
assuming the paint had ripped off because of one, it was so fresh, and two, that camo wrap, I'm sure.
It was definitely the
off.
camo. It was definitely
Yeah.
the camo that destroyed it. Ask me how I
So-
know.
So who's this Diesel Tech Chris? Is he on TikTok or is he on YouTube or what?
Yeah, he's on TikTok.
TikTok.
Fucking OG on
He's-
TikTok is what he is.
Yeah, on the Ford,
Oh,
the
okay,
Ford
okay.
crew. He's at a dealer, a Ford dealer, and doing the same stuff that we're doing. He just had what were you doing? Upper oil pan, and you had something. You're talking about putting a crank seal in.
Yeah, rear crank seal as well was puking. I was
Typical.
upset. I was
Typical.
upset. Yeah. Now I've got my first one that I've got to do. That's warranty. I got to do it next week.
Oh,
Steel body or Luma duty?
Luma duty.
Do you jack the engine up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm going
Oh.
to. I'm not looking forward to it.
Word. Yeah, those aren't the funnest things to do. But I don't know, I always get roped into one. Either
You
it's
got
from out of
two
state.
two
Yeah.
Super Duties, brand new Super Duties, 2022s with one 7,000 miles, one with 10,000 miles. Both of them need rear ends rebuilt.
Mm.
The
This
problem
one's got 93,000 miles on it. It was almost there. It was almost there.
This is giving back to Kate. Can you drive it a little longer?
Yeah. I'll put some dye in it for you. Yeah.
Cannot confirm source of leak at this time.
Yeah.
What what was I just gonna say? You had the oil leak. I can't remember. Oil leaks freaking suck though. Oh yeah, speaking of oil leaks, so we have a 21 right now, my coworker does, and it is a 21 Tremor, 39,000 miles, and it's got an oil leak from where the lower pan meets the upper pan, right on the same side as the oil filter. So that corner right there by the trans cooler, it's had been resealed, but in order to reseal it, you have to replace the pan. So it's had two lower pans on it, and it's leaking in the same corner again. Both times these gentlemen have said that they've had to pry the pan off, which is indicating that obviously the bond was good. He used metal surface preps, and I got a 22 oil leak right there at 4,000 miles. I had to replace the valve cover. I don't know what's going on with these trucks. Another coworker's got 22, and its front cover's leaking. Front cover's leaking. Engine's got to come out. Like, come on.
And they say
on.
the 7.3 was the worst oil leaker. Shit, my truck hasn't leaked a goddamn drop of oil.
More like 6 leaker.
Hmm.
6 leaker. Remember when the cam sensor O-rings would leak? Remember them things would all tear?
Somebody was asking earlier about how we felt about the 6.0s.
I mean, it's
One
better
guy-
than 6.4.
One guy loves his 6.0. Yeah. Somebody went, gents, please help. Is 6.0 really good or really bad?
They're my second favorite. Grew
The
up
dude at
on
work-
them.
They sound good.
Dude at
Yeah.
work has one with 130,000 miles on it, and it doesn't leak nothing. It's still all factory. Nothing's been modified. Nothing's been touched. And he absolutely loves it. Hasn't had a single problem with it. And he said he just oil changes every 5,000 miles, keeps up on everything, really meticulously takes care of it. He loves it.
Dang.
So they're reliable until you hot rod them. Is that pretty much it?
I mean,
Yep, pretty
'Cause
much.
I hear plenty of blow up stories about the heads lifting off because of the 4 bolts or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Ford did take him to the max, so going any more, then you start having problems.
I see.
But
Okay.
if you put some of them ARPs in it, they were good to go. You could even get a long block right now, 6.4 or 6.0, $1,000 more in price. You get a long block fully dressed. You can get no studs or with studs, no studs or with studs, and you can see right on the end of the stud it says ARP right on it. So
Definitely with studs.
yeah, and it looks cool because it's all painted in black and it's all wrapped up and everything's capped and everything's it looks really cool. Been a minute,
Smells
but
cool too.
Then the cylinder walls flake off a few thousand miles later.
you know that
Oops.
that 6.7 that I was taking apart, Aaron, that had that what was that, cylinder 3 or cylinder 4, where it had the uneven wear, where one side had a nice crosshatch and the other side was all washed down.
oh
And it
yeah,
looked like- well, another dude emailed me and he said, man, this thing, same thing. I put a short block in it, and 10,000 miles later, same thing. Cylinder 3's all washed down and the same wear on his. And he said, I don't know what's going on with this, man. I'm going to request a long block now. And it was the same
Wow.
identical wear.
all the The wear going up and down, not
Yeah,
that's
Yep.
messed up, man.
knocking real bad, almost sound like a wrist pin or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. What do you think, DS? What have you learned from this escapade with do-it-yourself wiring?
You're gonna tell the
Uh,
story. You're gonna tell the story.
I will. I mean, I can. I don't know. Before Boston hear it. But if it'll help people,
you might want to
No.
tell the story.
Yeah,
But
just tell
he-
the story.
Just
Come on,
you
you
can't.
know,
I mean,
We're not
telling it's
gonna
not
judge.
gonna
This
undo
is
it.
you.
no,
Yeah.
Ford Boss
When
is
I
here
find
now,
out-
so
when
This
I
is
find
you
out
told the
putting it in the
story.
boat. This is you
know,
putting
I'm
it in the
gonna
boat.
keep
He's
So-
putting it down the river.
Oh, that's gonna be
I would
bad.
never, I don't know. This is my own truck. I was thinking kind of outside of the box. I was putting a plow wire harness on my truck. And there's 2 points that you can have a wire pass through the firewall. There's 2 good points underneath the hood. Normally, I go in the harness. What would you call that thing that seals the harness? The main harness where it goes through the firewall, the big rubber grommet.
The grommet.
Yeah. problem.
Well, it's got a nipple on the top of it that you can go through with the wire if you're doing some upfitting. I usually use the passenger, or I usually use the driver's side one. You look up underneath the dashboard, you can see clearly the other side of it. Well, I didn't want to have my plow wire run across the cowl area or across the engine or anything. I figured let me put this in on the passenger side, because that way it can go underneath the dashboard pretty easily. You won't see it. If you pop the hood, you won't see nothing. So I'm looking around. I take a razor blade and cut that little nipple off, because the wiring that I'm putting through is kind of thicker. So you kind of got to cut that nipple down a little bit. But I just didn't have no razor blades left at the house. So I'm looking around like, what can I cut this with? I had one of these, a razor blade that comes out like this. But this was just too big. I just needed the blade by itself to get in there. So I'm like looking around, I'm like, I don't know. So I get a drill bit and I'm poking at the hole. I drill through the hole. Okay. But the rubber is the rubber just closes up. You take the drill bit out, the rubber closes back up. So I put a hole in it with the drill bit carefully. I put a little fishing wire through. And I'm like, okay, I'll get this fishing wire through, and then I'll fish it, and then I'll pull my wire through with this once I get to the other side. But I'm poking at it. I'm like, I'm hitting something. I don't know what I'm hitting. Like, am I hitting a wire? What am I hitting? So I go up under the dash. I'm looking up in there. Like, what am I hitting? Like, I'm trying to feel up in there. Like, I'm reaching up in there. Like, I'm hitting. I don't know.
You drill through the
should I-
heater box?
I go, should I drill just a little further and see if it's just like
Heater core.
I'm thinking, because
Evap
I think that rubber thing has 2 layers to it. It's got an outside layer and it's got an inside layer.
First off, I got a question. Why didn't you just take the razor out of the box knife?
It don't come out. It's one of those ones where it's all extended out.
Pop the black
So- and
cap off the bottom.
Oh yeah, but it's only, I don't know.
You could take it out. Or
Hey,
is it
Yeah,
just-
somehow. I don't know. Why didn't I just go to the store and get some?
Yeah, that
That's
too.
what I ended up. That's what I ended up having to do anyway. Like, I bought a pack, but so I'm like, I think I'm just hitting a second layer, because you cut that nipple off. There's another layer. Like, there's a layer on the inside of it too. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drill a little further. I'm gonna go real slow. So I'm going real slow. Next thing you know, it starts arcing. I'm like, what the? I come back. I'm like, what the heck? What have I? Oh no, what have I done? So I get in the truck. I'm checking to see what's wrong. Popped a fuse. I replaced the fuse, whatever. And everything's been working. The trailer brakes didn't work for a second until I replaced the fuse. So yeah, I gotta fix that now. And I have got to probably pull the dash.
figure out
Figure
what you
out
chafed?
what I hit. Yeah.
You chafed something.
What I chafed. Yep.
Yeah. And you know what we use when we run wires and stuff, or what I use, so I don't have that happen, is fish tape.
Hmm.
I use a electrician fish tape. And it maybe if you would have called me, I could have came and did it for you. I mean, just saying.
Yeah, no, dude. I should have 100%. 100%. I don't like to bug people. Like I could have, the thing is, I did this before, but now that I think about it, last time I did this, A-Rod did this part for me. So like the plow itself, everything, no problem. But I got to the nipple, I was like, wait a second, I know exactly how to run it. Because it still took me a second to even run it through I ended up just putting it through the other nipple, but it still took me a second. Like
you just chalk that up as user. You're pretty smart when it comes to the actual electrical stuff. So you get a pass on that one. I mean, that's free pass.
I was definitely taking a risk. Like when I was doing it the whole time, I'm like, this is so risky.
At least you
The
didn't run it
mauler,
straight
the
from the battery.
installer.
At least
The
you didn't
bad
run it
part
straight
is-
from the battery through the door jam.
The
Like,
bad part is when you're going like this and you're like, oh, that don't feel right, but I got to keep going. I got to keep going.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Rich, I did that doing a low jack on a Fiesta one time in the trunk on the passenger side. I went through with the self-tapping screw. I was like, that went kind of easy. Let me go to the other one. That one went kind of easy. And I look and there's 2 screws sticking out the other side of the car.
Oh, no.
The problem is I know better. I 100% know better. And I was just, I don't know. Do you know what it was? It was so cold. I was working outside and it was so cold. Like I was kind of rushing just because it was freezing cold. So
you know how when these Broncos show up, if nobody owns them or some people do own them and they get the accessories to go with it. Sometimes you got to mount certain things. You got to drill holes, and we had his brand new first edition show up, top of the line, semi-skilled tech goes up and he's trying to put this bracket stuff on for the inside. Like you open the rear tailgate of it, and you got to mount that picnic basket thing on the back of it, the one that flops down. This motherfucker's over there. I went up and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like 30 feet away from this guy, and he's like, for some reason I can't get this drill bit to go through all the way, and now I'm trying to put this. He was using a self tapper to do what he should have been doing with a drill bit. And I go over and look behind where the tire's mounted. I'm like, bro, you've got the freaking self tapper through the paint, man.
Oh man.
You drilled
my
through the
goodness.
freaking paint. Do you not? Are you freaking? Send it to the body shop.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Well, I'm watching this diesel tech Chris on TikTok, and the video that I'm watching, it's like 2 minutes. It's a Powerstroke. I think it's a blue Powerstroke, and there's no cover on the fuse box.
Oh.
And I don't have the audio turned on, but you're pointing at water, like you know how water follows that trail and drips right on the fuse box.
Mhm.
Notorious.
So that thing came in there with no cover.
So stupid.
No cover on it.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Yep, and he was upset about that, Bill.
We just had one come into the shop. Remember, DS had one that had a hole drilled right through the cover, right in the middle. Wire
Brand
coming
new,
right through.
2022. These, you thought my upfitting was bad? That I just put that little hole, replace the fuse. They put a hole.
Nobody said that yet, though. Like you're
Oh,
saying
dude,
that.
I've been
for us.
He's
saying
just
that, dude. I've been
admitting to
feeling
it.
that, dude. I've been feeling it. Like, dang, like
So you feel like you're retiring already, huh?
Hang
I
up the
thought
rope,
about it.
DS.
I thought about it for a good day, for a good whole day. I was like, is it over?
Is my
This is the end.
is my upfitting career over? Did I just finish
It is come to an end.
I was like,
And that-
thank God it was my truck and not someone
But
else's.
those Super Duties are not the only ones, though. You brought up a good point there. It's just like Chris was showing, with there being no cover on it. The
Mhm.
Super Duties are not the only ones. It's in like the Navigators, the Expeditions, the F-150s. when I'm pulling those boxes apart, doing the recalls and stuff like that on some of these newer, like under hood fire and stuff like that, as I'm separating the fuse box, I can literally see water in the bottom of these brand new vehicles that have 10,000
Wow.
miles on them.
Well, let me ask you this though. If it's on the top, let's say water's getting there, your cap's on there. How does it get around that top?
The cap is not sealed. There's
There's
nothing
no
around that.
gasket or anything.
There's
So just
nothing.
capillary action as it hits that once it's drained
I mean,
down.
It
and
runs down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I've done for customers before though is I've taken the cap off and taken like a abrasive disc or of some kind or a wire wheel, and I flip that cap upside down. And I know I'm not getting paid for this, but I feel bad for them because they have to deal with this. And I'll run that abrasive or that wire wheel all the way around that cap, and I'll scuff it all up as much as I can without drilling through it. And then I'll clean it up with isopropyl alcohol. And then I'll take some 3M thin rubber strips, and I will line that lid, and I'll get it to seep back down on there. And then that lid has a seal on it now, and that water never gets in there again.
Remember that BS transit water shield malarkey you had to put on the bottom of the cowl?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If
I
they
just
came
did
out
one the
with
other day.
that, they should have some bull crap for that too, where
That
we
would
can
be
at
nice.
least divert the water, not towards the battery, not towards the engine, but have some sort of way to channel the water down to the fender liner or
Straight
down
down through the fender.
into the fender. Like, why are you dumping that water? Because you all these trucks in the cold weather states where the ice and the snow sits on the cowl, all that stuff melts, and if you go to pop your hood, the first thing that happens is that stuff, as you open that crack between the cowls,
Dumps, right? Yep.
Why don't they just put hoses up in there and run them down in the fender well, like when you put a cover on a bed, you got the plastic hoses that you
Yeah.
run in there?
And some
Something like
cowls
that.
do have that. Some
Yeah.
have that. Like on the Panthers and stuff, they have that in the center where it's got a drain in the middle of the cowl area, and then it has a rubber grommet that kind of directs everything to the center, so it's not running completely off to the sides, and it can drain better that way. They should do something like that.
I don't love the fender liner over there. How it's that felt. It's got
Oh,
too
yeah.
many holes over there. I
Yeah.
wonder how well sealed that fuse box is on the bottom end. Because if you drive straight, let's say you're in the rain, you're driving straight, you're probably okay. The plane of the tire is not near any of those holes. But once you start turning and doing maneuvers and stuff, if you're doing a lot of that, then you're plastering those big holes in that felt liner. You're plastering those holes with a lot of water pressure. For me, all my trucks, plastic liners in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I just put them on the F1 Shitty tonight.
How is that truck so far?
We used to put those on in the PDI.
Yeah, I mean, that's our manager has actually spoke to the general manager and said every one of these used F-150s and Super Duties up, you need to start like trying to throw that in with the cost of the truck. 99.9% of the people want those liners put in there, and they kind of look ugly when those liners aren't there.
I agree.
So maybe that should be
right here.
Yeah.
We put the liner in, the mud guards, and the bed liner.
So I did as soon as I seen that, even though mine's got that aluminum body, I wasn't like Cody, wasn't 2015 the first year for the aluminum body on the F-150?
Yep.
Yeah, mine, no rust or no rot, no nothing anywhere on that. But I was like, you know what? I can't stand the way that looks back there with no liners in it. I got to at least put the liners in.
Yeah, the rear looks good like that.
Yeah. So that's that new filter that I was expecting to get that they told me that I'm not going to get because now they don't have it in stock.
Because
What's the deal with the new filter?
So this is it, you guys. I have 3 filters here. Let's do a little rearrange here.
I ordered some from the dealership.
Let's back it up. All right, this is what we are normally accustomed to. This is our FL 2051. Normal, same old. No, we cannot get this anymore. And its replacement is now the 2124. physically, they look the same. They look like they are the same
Identical.
height. Uh,
The bypass
Haven't-
in the end of them? Is the bypass is still in the end of it, like the 2051? Same?
yeah.
I wonder
It
what
says it
the-
has a silicon valve. Now something I am noticing right here. Oh no, I guess
I wonder if they
size
did
the
the same
same?
thing like they did with the Mustang, the GT350 or the Ford Racing one. Remember you did that video, Rich? It was the
Where,
same. It was the same on the inside, but it was just
Oh, yeah.
labeled Ford Racing.
oh, yeah.
And the third one is the AMSOIL. This is
I
the
use it.
AMSOIL 6.7 oil filter. I don't know. Are you guys for the 100 or so in here? What are you running on your truck? Pretend we don't have the 21, 24. If you have a fleet of 6.7s or a 1 or 2 or whatever, are you going for the Motorcraft one? Are you doing an AMSOIL one? Are you doing a Purelator? Are you doing a Fram? What's your go-to filter when you're going for your oil change? Now, this one is definitely a difference in size, height-wise.
Is the AMSOIL bypass in the bottom instead of the top like the Ford?
Um,
I run the AMSOILs on the fleet and I use the Motorcraft for backup.
I don't know. I got an orange disc at the bottom.
Yeah, so it's in the bottom.
Yep.
I like the reason I like the Ford one better, and I'm not taking away from AMSOIL at all. Don't get me wrong; they put out a phenomenal product. I'm going to put out a video tomorrow showing the AMSOIL products that I used on the F-150 tonight. I used some stuff Anthony sent me, but I like the Motorcraft one better because of the safety technology built into it. The bypass is in the top, so any kind of debris and stuff that settles in that bottom of that filter
Mhm.
on cold start on bypass has a higher chance of washing into that engine in bypass, where the Ford one, it's in the top. So a lot of that sediment, it sits in the bottom of that filter, and the bypass being in the top on cold start, it has way less chance of any sediment getting in that engine with the OE one versus aftermarket.
FL 2124, new part number. The part number that we're accustomed to, I have a video coming out where we're going to talk about part numbers and what all those means. I think I had mentioned to you guys last time, but we have an MU2Z 6731 Charlie. That is the Ford number. The Motorcraft number is the FL 2124. That's what we always all go by, when talking about oil filters. So the older one, 11 to what we've been using already, is a BC 3Z 6731. So that really denotes 6.7 first gen all the way to Alumaduty. Then they switched to an HC3Z, and then when they went to 20, that changed to LC3Z. So kind of interesting how they did these numbers, but I'm looking forward to finding out a little more info on why they changed this, if this is going to be specific to that high output 6.7. Is that why?
Maybe a
What
little
did they
better flow.
change? Maybe a little better flow.
I wonder if the microns changed.
Something I noticed today was underneath that 21 and some 22s. I noticed Skidoo, yours was like this too. The oil pressure switch is mounted on a diagonal, whereas on the 20s, it's vertical going into the side of the oil filter adapter. And some of these things, we'll notice subtle changes in things where sensors are located or oriented. The harness routing may be different, but I'm very intrigued by this. Nobody can get 2051s right now, and they have this new filter out that Ford Boss tried getting, he can't get.
Aaron,
WTF?
the real question here is, are you going to pre-fill that thing?
I mean, I usually do.
I don't pre-fill any of them.
What about Chris? Diesel check Chris, what's your go-to? What are you doing? Are you not pre-filling filters or are you pre-filling? Nothing?
Never have.
All right, all right.
Nope, don't do it.
We
Vortex.
got
You know,
Nope.
if we broke it down,
Bearded Vortex.
I don't
If-
pre-fill them.
if we broke down how you're supposed to pre-fill, let me go back in time to my heavy duty days when I was on the over the road trucks. There's a plunger you actually put in the center of the filter that blocks it off. And then there's the capping on the outside that you're supposed to fill from the outside. And you're supposed to sit there and fill this very, 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 very slowly until that filter fills up. You're not supposed to take anything and just dump it straight into the center of the filter and fill it up no matter what it's coming out of. So once I started realizing that back in the day, on the heavy duty trucks, when you pre-fill, there's a specific way they want you to do it. Now I move over into four-wheelers, what we call smaller vehicles, trucks and below. The more I looked into it, there was no need for it. There's plenty of oil still in that engine. There's residual coating on everything. It's a matter of just a few seconds before that oil pressure is built up and right back in that engine anyway. And I quit doing it because of the amount of things that I would see in videos when people were pre-filling filters and you see this little shiny filament or something go into this filter or something like that. They didn't even catch when they were doing it, or some kind of metal or debris or something. I don't do it. I've never had a problem and I never will do it.
That's a good point. Like you're filling this thing up and that little metal that's on that underneath the cap, that little protective, whatever seal goes in the center of the filter and you don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's debatable. Some people do it. Some people don't. Some people are careful. Some people aren't. Most of us are taking something right out of a jug that hasn't been washed or right out of a gun and we're filling the filters that way. There's too much room for human error there. And I just don't do it.
pre-fill with sawdust. Now,
Oh, that's
come on.
By the way, I got some 2051s. I got 29 of them.
I use
Yeah.
dielectric grease.
You got to keep them in stock though. You have a bunch of
Rayman, what do you do? Do
I
you
got
pre-fill or
21
no?
I
Force.
pre-fill mine with dielectric grease and then some Loctite. And then
I saw that. one.
definitely orange silicone around the O-ring. That way it doesn't leak.
All right, we got a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
He says, I've been noticing a clicking sound in my steering column only when it's cold out. I've
Oh,
been
you know what? Me
seeing on
too.
threads, maybe clock spring. Is it easy fix? Sounds like a frog, kinda. 2020
Mine does that too.
F250.
It started doing that the other day.
Mike's
Somebody
truck's-
emailed me, same thing.
Mike's F-150 is doing it. He's bringing it in for that noise.
Really?
Yeah, when he does his oil change.
Wait, what year was this one?
2020.
21
This-
F-150 does the same thing.
It's starting to get cold here, so I'll have to check the fleet, see if they're doing it.
Mine's
This guy's
doing
got
it.
the same
It's the
clicky
first
sound?
one.
What the heck?
Chris, you heard
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I put a video out about that a while back.
What's the deal? What's the deal with that?
I believe I figured it out. There's a pigtail in there. The horn hooks up to, and it mounts to like a plastic keeper that keeps it in there. And that it's got that little tab on there, and it comes off that tab, and then that little pigtail sits in there and bounces around like this when you're turning the wheel, and it sounds like almost like a pinball in there.
Yeah.
And I was able to go into one, and it had 2 or 3 clock springs put on it, and the problem was still there. And I was able to silicone that down and zip tie it down just for the time being to double check, and the noise went away.
So is it the pigtail behind the clock spring? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, right behind the airbag.
Right behind the airbag. Okay.
So will it eventually, if you ignore it, could it eventually cause an issue?
Could be
Oh,
more
yeah.
annoying than anything.
If it's
Yeah,
if it's clicking around inside there, and one of the key points that you guys just pointed out was now that it's getting colder, so things are shrinking, they don't have as much tension on them. Maybe it is coming loose from the holder, and it's coming off of where, like a keeper, like Chris was saying, where it's supposed to be, and that clicking. I'm sure anything that's clicking is making contact, so eventually it's going to be a problem.
And it's there for a reason too. So if it comes out.
2267. Why do I get diesel fumes in my cab after remote starting or doing a part regen? Hmm.
Hmm.
You got the HVAC on? Got the windows down?
I was gonna say it must have something to do with HVAC settings, or I wonder if the remote start deal, if you have it set a certain way while it's idling, does the remote start make it pick back up where it was left off? And if the recircuit stuff is on versus fresh air, that might have something to do with it.
I did have
But it-
one Monday. They were complaining about diesel fumes, exhaust fumes in the cab, but they had the the crash reset button. They had it set on fresh air, and it was
Yeah.
coming in through there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I'm worried about is whenever they regenning or on remote start, instead of having the fresh air on, make sure that
Yeah.
when the vehicle shut off, keep it on recirc.
As soon as I put it on restart and drove it around and let it sit for 45 minutes or so, there was no more smell inside the cab. So that was my conclusion on that. I'm not saying that is what's wrong with it, but that was what I came
Very
to the
well could
conclusion
be.
of.
Let me see something real quick. That broken wire. I've heard Peter Fortek and him and I were talking earlier about rear windows not working. Diesel Tech Chris and Ford Boss might be able to chime in on this too. But the Illuma duties that have the right rear windows not working or locks not working have had a broken wire down in the door, in the sill, or in the convoluted part that goes to the body. Today I had or the other day, yesterday, I had a Luma Duty. It was a 17, and underneath the driver's sill, there was a splice coming from the driver's switch pack, and it was busted right as it goes and splits off to the rear two doors. And yeah, a lot of guys were pretty active in the comments and had said that they had seen it. I personally haven't had that. I've heard of it, haven't seen it. Peter Fortex said he's had one, so
Had it today.
I've had it in the F-150s, but not any of the Super Duties.
Are you talking about in the door jamb where the door closes?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this
Mhm.
one's down in the sill, like on the step plate.
I've had some of them for other issues, not necessarily take the door down, but not shift out of gear, crank, but won't move out of park and stuff like that down there in that seal plate where they break. And it's right where Aaron said, right where they go to split and transfer over to the other side
Mhm.
through that plastic channeling that's supposed to protect it, right where it turns, they break right in there.
Yeah, mine was right towards, if you're looking at the seat, it's right towards the seat back. There's a splice right there. It wasn't completely broken in half. It was hanging on by a few threads. So I just ended up having to cut it, resplice it, put everything back together. And it
Yeah.
worked after that. It was kind of funny because he just put the video out, and about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I had the same problem. So I was like, I don't feel like pulling door panels or pulling out the DMM. Let me just go check this right quick. And sure enough, there was a broken wire. So A-Rod saved me again on that one.
Son of a bean.
Now, if that wasn't broken, then obviously I would have pulled door panels and all that stuff. But
No, Ford Boss, you had a very interesting video this week with this truck you purchased. What I took away is super savvy purchase. Like you could have got a 10-speed, you could have got a next gen 5.0, whatever, but the fact that you got the 6-speed and the 5-liter without the linings and the cylinders, the spray in lining and the cylinder, pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was looking for something specific. I've been telling Aaron and Cody and you and Ray for like a couple of years now. I've been looking for something very specific. I want a Gen 2 with liners. I don't want that arc spray plasma, this and that with the oil consumption. I don't want auto start stop. And I want it to be a 6-speed so I don't have all the hunting problems with it, hunting between gears and it just this all of a sudden, you know, being at a slow speed, 20, 30 mile an hour, just barely touching the gas, and then it's jerking back and forth, trying to figure out where it needs to be. And it came in, it got traded in, and it was 82,000 miles on it, meticulously taken care of. And instead of the 5.5 foot bed that you normally see, this had the 6.5 foot bed in it. And I was like, dude, that is the truck that I've been looking for. And it's in a very, I don't want to say rare color, but you don't see that truck with that package in Caribou all over the place. So I was like, this thing overall is just a very unique truck. It's what I need. It's what I want my old lady and kid to be in. It's very, very safe. They don't have to worry about problems and stuff like that. And I pulled the trigger on it, and I absolutely love this thing, man.
Hell yeah.
I've got the 6-speed Super Duty. I've got the 10-speed Super Duty. 6.2 with the 6-speed, 7.3 with the 10-speed. And I can tell you right now, that 6-speed with the setup that I have, that 6-speed is kind of better if you're
That
just
6
driving.
R80 is a beast, man.
Yeah, it's like you never even know it's there. You drive the
Nice.
truck, you don't
Nice
know it's there.
smooth shifts in that transmission. It's not hunting around all over the place. When you need to slow down, you're going slow. It's not back and forth trying to figure out what it needs. It's just that 6-speed transmission for me is perfect.
That 10-speed with the 430 gear, it's always hunting.
All right, drink.
With that gear, it's always hunting. When it's not towing, so I think if you're looking at a 250 gas right now and you're thinking what kind of gearing,
250 gas.
350 gas, 250 gas, maybe a 450.
Medium duty
Yeah.
question in the house.
The
Expertise.
430 gearing, unless you're gonna tow all the time, that trans don't drive right until I'm towing. Like when I'm towing, perfect. Not towing, it's like, man, this thing is picking the wrong gear. Like it feels like the acceleration just lets off, and then it just doesn't know what it wants to do, and then it gets into a gear, and you're going. I'm not super thrilled with it, just driving empty. Towing is great, or speeding is good too, but just normal driving, 6 speed is better.
What's the medium duty question?
Medium duty.
Medium.
Medium.
Extra medium.
Allisons. We don't know any Allisons. Half duty. We don't do half duties. The half duty would be like the F600. That's the half duty.
What's the medium duty question?
I'm actually gonna have some coffee from. He's been on the live stream before. You guys are gonna like it. I'm gonna talk about it here coming up on another live stream. But for you guys that like coffee, you might want to check us out. kind of clever.
We're boring.
Aaron,
Yeah.
what is the medium duty question?
I don't know. I'm waiting for it. He didn't say.
Okay, sorry.
Someone said something about a hop
Yeah,
55 miles per hour. Is that the medium duty question? They said they had an F550.
A hop at 5
Yeah.
miles an hour?
Yeah, they said at 55 miles an hour,
Oh.
it has like they said it has a hop.
Like a death wobble hop?
I don't know. I
Like
said
a
Or
hippity
like a
hop.
straight up and down hop? Like
I
we
don't
got
know.
some choppy
No,
tires or
hop.
what? I mean,
Is it slam dunking like MJ? Is it jumping up and dunking like MJ? What kind of hop we talking about?
I think he said it was a 22.
got some hydraulics like Pinky.
Boing, boing, boing.
I'm
We
working on a
returned this to
medium
the
duty.
service writer for a
Wait.
better description of the customer's complaint.
Hey, listen to this. Listen to this. We had a dude that showed up at the dealership, and he was desperate to buy a Super Duty. I mean, this dude owned a plowing company, everything else, construction company, and
Oh, there's the question.
we didn't have what he wanted. So this dude offers us for our 2011 6.2 Super Duty full cash value for this thing. He was that desperate, paid $24,000 for this 2011 6.2 Super Duty with 64,000 miles on it. Wanted our truck that's abused on our lot, just wanted to buy it. He didn't care. Just outright cash right now. That's how desperate people are for vehicles right now.
Damn.
Mhm.
I mean,
We
think about how hard it is right now to find a Ford truck.
we
Like,
replaced
it's,
it with a 2019 6.2 Super Duty with another 6.2 in it. And we've already got the approval for a brand new plow and everything. And we were talking today, like, how many more people are going to find out that we have this 19 out here that still has the stickers and everything in the window, and then start offering us money for that and then buy that one as well.
yeah.
I
You
just
wouldn't believe-
replaced.
Go ahead.
Somebody just said something about a 10 speed. I just replaced a 10 speed in one of my clients, 2350. And that thing was starting off in 10th gear. Slamming.
Dang.
We had an Edge come in today. Same thing. When you fire it up, when you fire this thing up, it only has 40,000 miles on it. As soon as you start it, the engine would go boom, and the whole thing would shake and look like it was coming out of the engine bay. And
Dang.
the trans guy came over and looked at me, and he was like, "Look at this thing start, man. I'm just gonna start it. I'm not gonna put it in gear. I'm not gonna do nothing." He would start it, and it would slam into gear like it was trying to go in gear, and the engine would jump up and forward like it wanted to come out of the engine bay. And he was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "Dude, I bet you something in that valve body and that transmission is something's broke or something's jammed up." And a couple hours later, he pulls the valve body out, pulls it all apart, and one of the springs in the valve body had broke and started to curl into itself, and it was allowing the plunger and the cap to come off of its seat. And on cold start, it would create full line pressure and almost try to slam it in 5th gear on cold start, even though it was in park. That valve would jam, and it would build up all that pressure, and it would slam up against the parking pole, and the whole engine would rock forward.
Dang.
Brutal.
Stuff
like
we
your-
see.
The stuff we see, especially when you got a tow truck driver dropping off one of those, for instance, a expedition with a 10 speed going off the flatbed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Or the rattle that nobody can figure out,
Oh
and Rich
my
knew exactly what
gosh.
it was. The
Oh my
the
God.
exhaust spring.
Ford boss, do you wish we would have just stayed on the 6-speed? Like we kept running that?
Honestly, to be honest with you, and this is going to sound bad to a lot of people that enjoy the 10 speed, I don't think we have a reason for a 10 speed. I really don't. That's a performance application. And if you actually look at the history of going from a 6-speed to an 8-speed to a 9-speed to a 10-speed from all the manufacturers, 9 speeds weren't that great. 10 speeds weren't that great. A lot of people say they like the way an 8-speed shifts because there's enough variance between 6 and 8 to where it's not hunting, but a 6-speed just seems perfect. I don't like the idea of the 10 speed at all, to be honest with you. There's too much going on. There's too many problems. People are complaining all the time about it until they're under a load, like you said. So if you're going to run a heavy duty application and you're towing and you're working these super duties and stuff all the time, and you can utilize 10 speed, why not? But everybody else and their mother complains about the 10 speed shifting. Why is it going from 1st to 3rd to 7th to this and back and forth?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it's in a super duty down to the Rangers, everybody complains about it. And no matter what
Yep.
we do or what we fix, all of it always comes back to be a problem.
My Ranger does it, but when I had my 2011 FX4 with the 5.0 6R80 transmission, never had a problem.
Yeah.
I did the lead frame recall in it, shifted like butter. My Ranger, it can be kind of jerky sometimes.
There's just there's no need other than fuel mileage.
Very
Crazy.
little.
And that's what it's trying to
There's a-
do, obviously. But
There's a very little. There's a little bit more final drive.
It's
Sure,
all about
there's
the
a-
EPA. That's
There's a
really what it comes
little
down
bit
to.
lower first gear, just a little bit lower in the first gear.
seventh gear, it's either 7th or 8th gear. That's actually 1-to-1 ratio on the 10 speed. I think it's 7th gear.
And that's the one with the problems. That's the one where the 7th gear down, when it goes from the 1-to-1 ratio back down to 6th gear, is where most people are experiencing that harsh downshift or harsh upshift. And if you pay attention to it and you want to figure out if there's really a problem, you can shift the vehicle over into manual mode and practice your shifts on where they're supposed to be. Shift it up and then go to slow down and shift it back down, and you'll feel that boom. It'll jerk going from 7th back down. And that's where most of the problem lays, is that last, what do they call that? The final drum or
The
the
final
final
drive,
drive or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And that right there is where the issue's at.
Diesel Tech Chris, do you do trans?
Nope. Pull them out, put them in. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Mm,
Swap them.
Do you do front end and shit too? Rear end?
Oh, yeah, I get into that, but I don't want nothing to do with transmissions.
Yeah, true that.
They're
Yeah.
really not that bad. I mean, on the 10 speeds, they're really not that bad.
When you get into them and you practice everything enough, and that's your daily bread and butter, the trans guy loves it. But now you take the trans guy and you throw him over into something, you throw him into something that A-Rod's doing, or Chris is doing, or you're doing, or DS or CP or me, where we're having to do everything. He hates it.
They're
He
lost.
just
Yeah, they're lost. Yeah.
absolutely hates it. They're kind of lost. The trans guys love it because that's what they get to specialize in and do all the time. But when you take them out of that, they get uncomfortable. Now us, where we have to do everything, including the swaps, it's like, man, I really don't want to go into this transmission. I don't want to have all these extra tools. I don't want to have to measure and do all this extra stuff. Give me a damn trans.
Yep.
I'll put a trans in it, program it, do all that stuff all day, but I don't want to have to be going through that on top of doing everything else.
Yeah, they're not that bad. I'd rather just swap them anyway. But
That's why we send the transes to Performance Trans LLC. Let
I
him
did-
deal with them.
I did
Yeah.
Don't
break
mess with them.
the front support plate. You know what I'm talking about, Rich? The front support
Yeah.
plate, how the torque converter's got the little notches in it, and the support
Yeah.
plate has little notches in it. When I was
Yep.
doing that engine in the Ranger, I put the torque converter in, and it popped in, and then I put the transmission up, bolted
Really?
everything down, but I couldn't turn the engine to put the nuts on. And I was like, what in the world? And I pulled the transmission back out. It was not in all the way. Those little grooves were not lined up, and I broke the front faceplate.
Oh,
Ouch.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
I could change the seal right then and there, but then I had to pull the pan off and then take the valve body out so I can change the front faceplate out. And then, yeah, that was some free time right there. But I learned, won't do that again.
Project
have to-
Amateur. What is up?
I just had to recover a semi-skilled tech where we were overseeing him do an upper oil pan, and he's getting real good at them now. He's able to do them in the right amount of time and not lose his butt because he's done so many of them now. And he came over and grabbed me and he was like, dude, I put this trans in, the cross members bolted down, I've got the bell housing bolts and stuff started, I've got it all sucked in, but for some reason I can't get this engine to spin over. And I was like,
Torque converter wasn't in all the way.
You're gonna have to loosen those the transmount bolts, jack up the back of the trans a little bit so we can see if we can get some play out of it. Loosen all those bell housing bolts all the way around.
It
You've
pops
jammed
out.
the torque converter into
The front
flywheel,
faceplate.
and hopefully you did not break it. And I was able to just take a pry bar and put it up in there and just little by little by little by little by little spin that thing around enough to get the holes and everything to line up, and it came right together. And I was like, dude, do
You
not do
lucked
that.
out.
Do
The
not
one
do
thing I
that stuff
hated-
again.
The one thing I hated about that, because the Ranger has the 2.3 in it with the 10R, the transmission bolted up to it. On the back side, you got the two top mount bolts, and on the passenger side, you have that one bolt that holds the EGR cooler in, the cooler line.
Yep.
It is a pain in the butt to get to. And then the senior master that was next to me, he was like, why didn't you just go through the fender well? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, he could do transmissions. That's what he does all day. Like, he can do transmissions like nothing.
Cody, what is it called? That one bolt that you have to like pull the trans as you back it. Isn't it called like a captive bolt or something?
Captive bolt.
Captain Bolt.
The first time that our senior trans guy had to pull one of them out of there, he's over there throwing stuff at the ground, and he's like, "What the?" And he's pulling. It was his first one, and he was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" He's slamming stuff out of his cart, and he was like, "How hard can it be to pull a freaking transmission?" Yeah, put a stupid captive bolt in there.
That's where the name
those
Flying
suck.
Wrenches comes from.
Poor Brandon Powerstroke. He's got that all hooked up now.
What are you talking about?
I wrap my air filter in masks so my truck doesn't get blank.
Dude, you kill me with this. The guy cracks me up.
air, I have the Banks. We bought the Banks Ram Air. Just like you saw the install that we did on the channel. It going from stock to Banks was a big difference. I think the most noticeable was the engine brake and hearing it through the the air cleaner. It was pretty cool. Definitely recommend that for
With
sure.
the pedal monster.
Mm,
Who's
um,
excited for Thanksgiving?
Nobody speak at
excited
once.
for-
Oh,
I'm
crickets.
excited for Aaron to hurry up and hit his 100,000.
I know, right?
I know we're almost
91.4K right now.
There it is right now, 91.
almost
Oh,
91.4.
Ford Boss. I got 10K. I got
Nice.
10,000.
I got over 1 million views.
Bearded Ford Tech got over 1 million views. What?
For real?
Yeah.
What was it?
Total
No.
views.
On his channel. On his channel.
Oh,
Oh, totals. Okay, cool.
Yeah, total.
Right on.
That's freaking
Meanwhile-
awesome.
So I'm gonna
First
take
M.
I'm gonna take 3 of the scanners that were given to me for reviews,
oh.
and for Aaron's 100,000, I'm gonna give them to Aaron's subscribers to celebrate his 100,000 as well. And
That's
one of them,
freaking awesome.
one of them's like $1,000 scan tool. Another one's like a $600 scan tool. There's another one that's like a $300 or $400 scan tool. And then I'll let him figure out who they need to go to.
Heck yeah.
And
I got a
And
whole
that's-
care package I'm sending you. I'll probably get it out Monday. There's a bunch of
Heck
stuff in
yeah.
there. So
appreciate it.
We
Hey, Ford
we
Boss, I had
we-
10K and they sent me this little scanner.
Who's that? Who sent you
This
that?
King Bolin.
Oh, yeah.
King Bowl.
oh yeah.
King
They sent me
Bowl.
a brake fluid tester that I'm giving away Sunday.
I told the guy, I said, send me that big scanner that's in a suitcase. He's like, no, you have to start with the small one first.
Yeah, he sent me the brake fluid tester, and then he sent me the battery tester this week, and then I'll do the scanner that you got.
Does he
Yeah.
have a power probe? Because I need one of those.
I don't know. I'll ask.
Ask for if they have any Ansel products, ask for the Ansel PB100.
I'm about to
PV
ask right
100?
now.
Very comparable.
The Ansel PB100 is it's like a 50-foot lead, or it's a 25 and a 25. So it might be a 25-foot lead and then another 25-foot lead. So you actually get more lead than what the power probes offer. And I'm not saying that they're comparable at all. The power probe does seem to have a bigger, nicer body and a nicer screen to it. But when I'm looking at what they actually offer, bang for your buck wise, the PB100 does the same exact thing that the power probe does. And if you're just looking for diag tools and stuff that actually works, it's a very, very good tool.
That'll be on next on the list. He actually
Mhm.
found me. I don't know if he
I'm
found
messaging
DS,
him
but
now.
he found me on the live stream, and he emailed me.
Well, he watches us. He started sending me stuff, and then I dropped some names or whatever of people that I thought were important, and then he started asking me questions about Aaron and Ray, and then we've all been talking. I want other people to be included in some of the stuff we talk. That I want you guys to get the stuff I'm getting as well. So
Yeah, he offered me the brake fluid and the battery tester, but I have absolutely zero use for either one of them.
I did it just to review it, and it's actually not bad. You know what I mean? Somebody that's starting out, maybe a quick lube guy could use it. So I took it and
I
did a
do
review
it,
on it.
review it, and then I give it away to people that are in need, other techs, other people that may need something. So
That's what I did. Yep.
I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of doing reviews. I actually don't like doing reviews on other people's products for my own personal use because I have everything I need. But if I can review a product that works and it's pretty good, even though I don't want to do the review, I do it because I want to give an honest review, and then I want to give it to another tech, like an up and coming tech or a tech that's struggling and he may need something else to help him get by, or maybe get that next level promotion to go from like an apprentice to, entry level master tech, or I don't know, whatever it is, semi
C
skill,
level,
whatever.
B
the hell.
level, A level. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be able to give that to somebody else. I could turn around and sell them all and make a ton of money off of them, but I just don't do that. I just give them to. I give all my scan tools to the subscribers.
And that's what I'm doing with this. Everything that I'm reviewing, I'm giving away.
Plus, all you
All
guys
right.
are doing it too, so it's like,
SNS reached out. We're gonna be giving away an SNS disaster prevention kit
Speaking
and
of
one
that,
other thing from SNS. So it's gonna be exciting.
speaking of that, it'll be first of the year, Aaron. Remember when I talked to you about getting all those SNS kits?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It'll be first of the year. Because they do the, my budget and everything that I work with. So
Dope,
they're more lenient toward the beginning of the year.
dope.
Hey, what was that? What was up with that short you put out, Aaron, about the whole Chinese knockoff one?
Yeah, that when I was talking to the SNS rep, he it was made aware to them that there is a Chinese company ripping their product off all the way down to the instructions. So they had a big newsletter go out to all their dealers to re-emphasize to everybody buying that look for the Made in USA insignia on the website, on any orders or advertisements. This is not not something they're going to tolerate, and they're looking towards taking legal action, obviously. So for those of you that are looking for it, please don't buy it off Amazon. Try to buy it from reputable diesel distributor. I've been sending everybody to AccurateDiesel.com, asking for Tim. Tim's been hooking everybody up, getting it sent out quite efficiently. And yeah. Did SNS have their product made in China for testing? Absolutely not.
they are 100% Indiana.
Not one freaking piece.
They literally destroyed the fuel pump to test it.
Yeah.
Who is DS Trucks with a Z?
What?
They're frying their oil in 5W30 DS Trucks with a Z.
Chris said, pull out
DS.
the turkey while it's still juicy.
Who the hell is that?
Should we ban that person for blatantly making a copycat account?
Just figure
Meanwhile,
out.
we're talking about made in China. Maybe he's in China.
Maybe.
Wait a minute, where's that one diesel guy? Brandon D. No, he's still here. Okay.
Hey, Ray, ever
Brandon
since you put out
Powerstroke.
that video to make a WhatsApp account or whatever to go with the scammers, I did that.
Yeah.
Yes, I did that. And every time they comment on my comment on your video, I do that.
You just sit there and talk to him and waste their time.
Yeah, just waste their time. And then I got to start doing it with Rich. I'll send him a screenshot like, hey man, you got some dudes like trying to give me shit. That's, I know it's a scam. He's like, yeah, there's so many of them. It's like on every comment too. So
I'll have to go through and I'm like, report.
Mm.
Like, this is getting old. And then I'll get a comment from one of my moderators. They're like, dude, I've been like reporting these guys for like 10, 15 minutes now, and they
Yep.
just don't go away.
they keep popping up with different names.
I don't have any other freaking social media. You're not getting some giveaway with fancy
A car.
fancy birthday blow things with confetti all over it.
I haven't noticed my fake account people commenting in a few days.
No,
Yeah,
that was when you put
mine
that
went
video
away.
out. Remember, you were sitting in the dentist office,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then
yep.
afterwards, you put out like, "Hey, I want you to go make an account and start messing with them." So it hasn't been here recently because I haven't seen any, but Rich's channel has been
Yeah.
blowing up with them here lately.
Oh,
What
so
I
they
did
moved
was
on. Okay. All right. We gotta go mess with
What I
the
did
Rich's
was
channel.
I clicked on the icon. Eventually, I was able to click on the icon and go to that person's page that they made and block that account altogether, and then it quit.
Obviously, it's 0 subscribers. You know what I mean? No videos. We know it's not you, but some people don't know that. They just see Ford Boss, And
Hey
then they're like,
man,
oh,
what
he's
can I
giving some
say?
away.
What can I say?
Mhm.
Back then they
I'm not giving away the compressor. Stop it.
Oh, don't. Here we go.
Here we go again.
He's gonna have a line outside.
It's the new 430 gears. My compressor. I don't know what to say.
Cheerio.
Okay.
Cheerio. It's real simple. If someone's offering you something free, it's a scam for
100%.
Basically,
real.
unless we specifically tell you like, hey, we're giving this away on X date. You know what I mean? Like your
DS
100,000 giveaway.
Trugs turkey makes me sleepier than usual.
It's not the turkey, it's the amount of food that you eat.
Yep, not the turkey. It's all a lie.
And
Yep.
Why
I
is
have a
this
severe duty
emoji? Why is
turkey.
this emoji a Q?
Come again, over?
DS Trucks. His emoji is a Q.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I don't see it. Where's that?
Right there.
Maybe he just changed his name.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
And it's just
Oh.
waiting.
Cody,
It'll take a little while, but it's going to become a D.
somebody was watching my video on the propane F-150 5 liters,
Yeah.
and they got a hold of hotline with the manager. It had one of the main supervisors or managers call the dealership and talk to them. They approved all 3 5-liter gasoline engines that they were waiting on through hotline with propane replacements right there with the tech support manager from hotline. We're able to get all 3 engines ordered and sent to the dealership. So now they're waiting on their propane versions of the 5-liter.
Hey, A-Rod, you see this question from Pat? It says, when's a good time to email you to remote in to get my seatbelt light?
Yeah, Pat, anytime, just go ahead and hit that email in the description of all the videos or on the about page, and we'll get you settled.
Who did they talk with? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. He didn't tell me a name. He was very discreet about it, but he was like, hey, I appreciate you. Chris knows who he is. Wrenchmonger.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he comments on your stuff sometime. He's another Ford tech. Maybe he's just maybe you guys just don't communicate enough. I think he's got like a W or something for his icon, but he reached out to me and he was like, yeah, we were able to get a hold of hotline and we were able to get the manager or supervisor, whoever they were talking to, approved all 3 of our engines to be replaced with 5-liter propane setups, which are the same thing except better valve train. And they were able to get them approved. So now I'm working on it, and we got something back this morning from prior approval that basically was very vague, and it made it seem like, okay, it is a acceptable conversion, that something along the lines of you could do that if you wanted to, but not saying what you're doing is approved. They never even said that. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and order it and then just justify it in my story.
We've recommended it a few hundred times, so
Yeah.
and vehicle off-road. So
Well, the problem is, there's only so many available. So if there's only 25 available and there's all of us that are waiting on them, if those of us that aren't keen on realizing what you better shit or get off the pot means, if you're one of the techs watching this and you have to order one,
better do it
shit or get off the pot, because there's only 25 or so or whatever, 22 available now, and you're going to be SOL.
SOL. That's what you don't want to be. That's why you need to stay locked to this channel. You need to stay locked to the best Ford techs that we got right here, solving problems. My favorite was when Ford Boss had that problem, that dump truck. And we fixed that. We fixed that motherfucker right on the show. That was awesome. That was awesome. Looks like everybody's doing their diesel fuel check-in across the country. We got 450. I don't know where, but looks like Maryland's got 605, 511 North Carolina, Fort Beer Tech 521 South Florida. Eastern Iowa is at 410, $6 a gallon in Ohio. Oh,
Gas was $2.99 at Walmart yesterday.
Gas
Yes.
dropped down quite a bit.
Yes, Neil, we do. Check out the fuel playlist that I have set up for you guys. You will see that those videos there. Skidoo, everybody. I think this is where we're going to cut it out. We're going to get in deep into the after show, after party. So, without further ado, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you're off on Friday and that you have a long extended weekend. I know Diaz is about to fall asleep. Just bear with us these few 4 seconds. And
He's got the
yeah.
Tiger Woods fist pump going on.
Absolutely. Make sure to check us out Friday. We have another goodie for you. That's going to be around the 5 o'clock time Eastern Standard. I will see you guys in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Diesel Tech, Chris, thanks for coming by. Bearded 4 Tech, Sleepy D, Crowdy, Rainman, CP. Everybody, see you.